Welcome back and happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. In honor of this special day, I wanted to create a podcast episode about love, relationship, and how to have a thriving, happy relationship. But not just that, the greatest love story of all time. Yes, if you're familiar with my work, my own personal journey, and everything that I've shared, I was on a quest to manifest and to experience not just love, not just a relationship, not just manifesting my king, but I wanted to manifest the greatest love story of all time. I went on such a deep journey of different heartbreaks and then my self-love journey, marrying myself, and I was finally ready. But I said to myself, this time is going to be the one time when I'm manifesting my husband, my baby daddy, and literally the best love story I've ever experienced because I'm tired. I'm tired of settling down, tired of getting my heart broken, tired of sacrificing myself and my own boundaries. I'm tired of struggling in love and being hurt in love. So, are you ready for this episode? I'm super excited. super excited for this episode because I love love and I love talking about love. And I especially love talking about love for everyone who vibe with me and is willing to experience the greatest love story of all time. You're going to probably hear that a lot in this podcast, so just bear with me. I have a few points that I wrote down for us to go through. There are tips and tricks or advice, however you want to see them, that are prior to meeting the person of your life, your soulmate, your king, your queen, whatever. And then it's about the relationship itself, how to have a thriving, happy relationship. I want to start with a disclaimer. I personally believe that no relationship is perfect. You're going to experience shit. You're going to experience confusion. You're going to experience conflicts. You're going to experience painful moments if you stay long with the same person. And it's okay to reinvent yourself over and over again and to reinvent the relationship as many times as needed. Just wanted to put that out there. Now let's start. The first thing before meeting your person is to spend enough time alone to know yourself, your boundaries, values, and what you most desire in life and in love. Because once you're going to be engaged with someone, once you're going to be in the relationship, your mind is not going to be clear enough. You're not going to have the clarity and the I'm so sure of myself. It's impossible to have it when you're entangled with someone. So be super freaking clear about who you are and what you stand for. What are your deepest values? I literally have on my computer a document on my Google Docs that say Relationship Manifesto. And it's everything I wrote down when I was single for my next relationship, because I was on that journey of manifesting my husband, baby daddy, the greatest love story of all time. I was not just looking for a relationship, I was not just scrolling through Tinder or whatever to just meet someone and maybe go with the flow. No, I was ready for the big deal. I was ready for love, that like a relationship I never experienced before. I wanted to have literally what I was dreaming of when I was a kid, and I was going to bed and I was dreaming about Prince Charming, and everyone is saying like, oh, it's so naive. Fuck that. Like, I wanted to believe in the fairy tale. I wanted to believe in something beautiful, in the love that I wanted to experience. And part of me, my young, innocent, naive self, thought that it was possible. And the adult self that suffered a lot in love believed that, well, you're just so crazy to want that. And spoiler alert, I have my fairy tale. It's not a proper fairy tale because, of course, I'm facing with conflicts and problems. It's what happens when you deal with two human beings, and it's going to be the same in love, in friendship, in relationship. Like, life is not perfect. But at the same time, I'm experiencing the most incredible relationship. And I'm just looking on my desk. I have a picture of PL and I, my partner and I, on my desk. And it's just getting me so emotional because it's a picture taken in the early stages of ourselves connecting. And if I look to my right, because that was on my left, and if I look to my right, then I see my baby. And I just want to say that I love you so much. And I don't know, I'm getting so emotional. Okay. So yeah, spend enough time with yourself. Once you're with someone, it's impossible to see the things clearly. And I personally believe in my own personal story that I was single for so long. I was single for exactly 2 years and 9 months before I met PL. And I was struggling in my dating life, struggling with myself. And I had to redefine all of my relationship patterns, learn to really, really love myself on such a deep level, and then learn what it meant to be open to love. And I've created a program just for this, just to open yourself up for love and to be able to receive and work on all those things. And it's called L'Amoureuse because it means the woman in love in French. And it's not out yet, but I just wanted to tease you a little bit because it's so exciting. Anyway, I have on my computer this relationship manifesto, and I feel like I was single for that long because I needed that time to anchor down so deeply within myself all the things that I was not going to compromise anymore. Because when you fall in love with someone, it's so easy to compromise yourself and your values and to lose yourself in the relationship. That was my case so many times. So I needed time and enough time. Remember the beginning of what I said with this tip and tricks and advice is spend enough time alone. Enough time is important. The enough in the sentence is important. You have to really be so sure, to be certain, locked in your boundaries and your values. And to do the work, to actually get to know what are those values. Write them down, like put them on your wall so you see them every day. That's literally what I've done. I wrote down all of my values, all of my boundaries, and I had it in my room for so many months, so many years, so I could see it and really work with it. And life, God, the universe, however you want to call it, sent to me all the tests over and over and over again until I learned the lesson and until I felt like, yes, I'm strong enough within myself. Okay, moving to point number 2. Don't settle. I'm going to just glance on my right again and watch my amazing partner because he's done an amazing job at not settling when it was the hardest. It was easy for me not to settle when I was in the position of being single. I married myself. I was deep in my self-love journey. This is easy not to settle because, again, the universe, God, or just life sent me a bunch of not so amazing dudes. And it was easy to say like, fuck no. It's harder to do it when you are in the relationship and you have a feeling that is not exactly what you want. It's not exactly the greatest love story of all time. You're just very attached to someone. You love them very much, but something is missing. It's not entirely fulfilling. And you have something else running in the background, which is a fear that so many of us human mortals are experiencing, which is the fear of being alone. I think so many people, my greatest belief, honestly, when I talk about it to anyone in my life, is that the place where most people settle the most is in relationship because of that fear of being alone. You see it everywhere. If you walk in the streets, you're going to see so many people unhappy in relationship. I have very, very, very few examples of people that are truly thriving in their relationships, romantic relationships, because so many people settle for less, and because we trauma bond. Like I see it in my life too around me, where people, they're just attracted to each other because it's the wounds of their childhood and unresolved relationship patterns that are just attracted to each other. And it's a disaster. And it's two more people suffering even more, but it's so much more scary to be alone. There is absolutely no judgment when I say that, because I've experienced that so many times too. Most of my younger years, I was shit scared of being alone. I couldn't be alone. Like even physically in my own apartment, I always needed to have a friend or someone on the phone or to watch a video. Like being with myself was the most terrifying thing ever. And when I started this self-love journey, I was consciously celibate, focusing on myself, on the whole, how do you say that? Like rite de passage, like rite of passage that I went through in order to marry myself and in order to really prove to myself that this self-love was not just a thing for Instagram and a few quotes of like, I love myself in the mirror, but it was actually real. I had to spend a lot of time with myself, and that was scary and that was uncomfortable as hell, because when you're faced with just yourself, all of your shit are going to come up to the surface, and that's normal, but that's terrifying. So I understand why most people don't want to do it. And also there is something so natural and human. We are creatures that are made to live in tribes, in community. It's how our brain is created. It's how our biology is created. So don't ever feel bad if you feel that, because it's a normal thing to feel. If you're a baby and you need to survive, you won't survive without other people. You need other people. You rely on other people. And that is deeply, deeply rooted in your brain. So that's completely normal. So again, don't settle. Coming back to Pierre's story, he was in a relationship where, he was very attached, very, he loved this person very much, but he knew something was missing and he wanted something bigger, greater. He wanted more fulfillment and more vibing, more match, like a bigger match with how he pictures his future. And he was brave enough to leave a relationship that was good enough. And people around him was telling him, well, but at least you're not alone, and at least you have like a good relationship. Why would you throw that away? What would you risk being alone? And you don't even know if you're going to find something better. And then, here I come. here I am. So, of course, he definitely wins on this one. But, yeah. Okay, let's be serious for a second. No, but for real, it was really hard for him, because then he pushed himself to be faced with that fear of being alone and being even depressed for a few months before, again, he went on his own self-love journey. So I want to add something that I didn't wrote in all the points that I list out, but it reminds me of that, is that when we met with PL, we were both in a very good place with ourselves. We are both looking for love, but not in a way that is so needy and like, oh my God, I cannot live without a partner. We were actually really good with who we were and in a good place in our lives. We felt really good about ourselves, right? Yes. Okay. The other one is be yourself from the get-go. That was the first time when I met PL that I forced myself. It was not so much of an effort with all the work I've done on myself, but still I had to force myself to not lie, not hide, not change anything about myself. And I showed him the real, even ugly sometimes, real me from the get-go. And when I say from the get-go, I mean first date, second date, third date. Like the first moment we met, we really skipped the bullshit and the, oh my God, what are you doing in life? And okay, and whatnot. No, I had no time. Again, I was on a quest for a husband. But when I met PL, the funny thing is, I didn't realize our first date was a date, because I was just so curious about this person I met at the gym. He seemed really fun. We had a great connection, and we just, he decided to take me to the beach, and we had deep conversation, conversations from the get-go, and he showed me who he was truly. And I was not thinking in my head like, oh my God, is he the one? Which, by the way, I was doing with every single man I met. And not even a man, like every time I was stepping outside my house, I would put like one toe. I'm not even joking, like one toe outside my door. And I would think, is it the day? Is it the day I'm going to meet the one? My husband, my baby daddy. So yeah, for a moment I had an obsession because I really wanted to experience that. And this just ruins everything when you're meeting someone and in your head, unconsciously, you're going through a list of everything. Like, is he the one? Does he check the list that I have? And when I met PL, it was completely different. So natural, spontaneous. I was not in my head, not even 1 second. And he showed me everything about himself. He opened up so easily to me. So I think to be yourself from the get-go, you need to have a good environment. I think we co-created this environment where we both felt very comfortable being who we are, because we were non-judging, respectful, listening, and making the other person feel seen. But yeah, I think it's important to be yourself, because if you sacrifice a bit of yourself or you wait to show parts of yourself, or you're not being transparent, you would never feel like the person loves you for who you are. And it's just great to start a relationship knowing that you both are so transparent and so real with each other. Next point. Know what you're willing to tolerate, because you're going to have to tolerate some shit. I know some people in the industry of relationship coaching and just dating advice, they tell you like, don't tolerate shit, be a queen, oh my God, just leave him. That is bullshit. I'm sorry to scream in my mic right now, but I'm so passionate about that, because again, no relationship is perfect. And at some point with that intention, you're going to hurt each other and you're going to trigger some wounds. And you know, Rosie agrees. I don't know if you heard that, but she's next to me. She just woke up because she's so passionate with that too. At some point, you're going to have to tolerate some shit. The important thing here is to not be, oh my God, it's dramatic, and oh my God, we're going to die and it's the end of the relationship, or this person is not the one. No. Think about quantity and time. Like, what are your ultimate boundaries? Sometimes your boundaries are going to be crossed a little bit. So in terms of quantity, like if it's a small quantity, well, you're going to have to work through that and repair that. If it's time, it can be time. Like, how long are you willing to do that? I have a friend who just met someone who is very intense, very, very passionate, but in the good and in the bad. And you know, she was telling me it's fun for now because it's exciting, because I just left a relationship that was very quote unquote boring. It's not exactly what she said, but anyway. And she was like, I can do that for a few months, but can I do that my whole life? So it's important to know what amount of shit are you willing to tolerate and how long. Quantity and time. And again, don't trust those people that are like, I'm not tolerating shit. Those people are alone and single and miserable as fuck. I'm telling you, I've met so many of those women, especially, but it's the same with men. I've seen it both genders and both relationship coach that are online preaching, oh my God, I'm a goddess, I'm a queen, I don't tolerate shit, and they're miserable, single as fuck. Because you must be willing to do the work, and some shit are going to come up. I also know some people that are like, oh, we never fight, like it's so perfect. No, I don't believe in that either. Again, that's just my own personal opinion, right? You're entitled to your opinions and I'm entitled to mine. But some people that are saying like, oh, we don't ever fight, we don't have any conflicts. No, bitch, it's just because you're not saying shit. You're not talking to each other. You're not going deep. You're not trying to evolve together. Which leads me to my next point. I'm going to try to chill out in the meantime, because it's supposed to be a Valentine's Day special love episode. So, the next point is really connected. It's have the hard conversations. You must be willing to sit down and have the uncomfortable conversations. It's going to be uncomfortable because probably going to say things that you know will hurt or trigger your partner. And it's even harder when you know you're going to receive stuff that are going to hurt you, that are not going to go, that are going to hurt your ego, that are going to trigger the hell out of you. But if you're willing to do that, and we're still honestly, transparently working through that, how we can have like a proper communication. When they say communication is key, that I believe and agree very much. You must be willing to sit down and have those conversations. It's so important because everything that is not said will show up probably in a different way and in a most horrible, terrible way in the future if you don't talk about it. Next one. Always grow after conflicts. As I was saying, it's okay to have conflicts if they are, again, quantity and time. If they are every day, super intense, all the time, maybe you can start to question yourself. But if they are kind of occasional, and it's because both of your values are going to be triggered, or it's a wound from childhood, or it just touches you really deeply, or you're in a phase in your life where it's complicated because you just had a baby, for example, something like that. Make sure that those conflicts are resolved in a way that it gets you closer afterwards. This is something that I believe make my connection with PL so special, is that we never had a fight for the same thing twice. And maybe that's not actually true. Maybe we had one fight. But like that's something we constantly told ourselves many times, is that we never fought twice for the same things. Which means that when we had a fight, a conflict, we repaired it. We worked through it so that it didn't happen over and over and over again. And I think that's very, very powerful. Next one, be willing to grow together. So this is so vague, right? Grow together, what does it mean? For me, it means empower each other to evolve. And as I said, grow after conflict, just grow in general. If each person in the relationship is willing to become a better person and do better next time, and be on that, this momentum of growth and progression, and, not stagnant, not staying stuck in your patterns or anything. Like if you're willing to grow and to do it together, to support the other person when he's going through shit, or I'm going through shit and he's going to support me, like be willing to really grow together. I think that's connected to where is he? She wants to be on the podcast. I think it's connected to what I was saying. Shit. Commitment. The more you're going to commit to someone, you must be committed to the entity of the relationship itself. Next one is empower each other. That's what I just said. Actually, it's the same thing. It's like support each other. Next one is learn each other's love language. Okay. This is not just about learning if your partner loves gifts or word of affirmations better. This is like basic, but what I mean by others' love language, I'm going to get back at you in a second. It's just hard to focus and talk when there is a baby who tries to talk louder than you. So I was saying, go beyond just learning if they love gifts or word of affirmations. Get to know your partner. When do they truly feel love? And for them to get to know you as well, it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. You get to know yourself. And Rosie really loves the podcast and she really wants her own. She's so funny, actually. I think she's getting impatient that I actually finish the podcast and deliver this message. So go deep in learning the person you have in front of you, what they want, how they feel cherished, honored, respected, and loved. And also give the tools. Express when you love something say it. And when you don't like something, say it and just express as much as you can the things you love, the things that make you feel seen, understood, cherished, and loved. It's like exchanging roadmaps or instruction manual. Like, this is how I function, this is who I am, and the other person is going to do the same. It's also about expressing, like, knowing each other's boundaries, etc. And finally, so that I can wrap this podcast up, I would say my last advice is have sex. Have a lot of sex. Intimacy is so important. Sexual connection is so important. I believe it can really save a relationship. And even in your sexuality, you're going to move through different phases and cycles. You know, we just had a baby. Obviously, our sexuality is different. But keep connecting with that aspect, and if possible, try to bring a bit of sacredness in your sexuality. Try to make love to the soul of the person that you're making love to. Try to be more intentional. Try to create this ritual, this temple of sex, to experience that with your partner. I think it's magical, beautiful, and super powerful to really bond two souls together, two humans together. I think having a healthy sexual life is super important to have a thriving relationship. So with that, and Rosie singing in the background, I'm going to leave you, wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Hopefully you find the one, or just have receive a lot of love on this special day. And I talk to you next Friday.